Milo Yiannopoulos is a senior staff editor for Breitbart News, a speaker, and has been named the ultimate troll by the Fusion Network. Milo Yiannopoulos, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Am I the first person to come back?
You are the second, well, maybe the third or the fourth. I know you want to be first at everything.
I generally am. In fact, it's better than that. I'm normally way ahead of my time. In fact, I'm normally so early at everything that people think I'm crazy until 6 months later. It's like,
I used to have a guy that I wrote comedy with who used to always say, Dave, we're so ahead of the curve, we're behind it. So maybe that's where...
Maybe that's me.
Maybe that's where you are.
That's why I'm so unpopular. I don't know.
Yeah. No, we've had a couple repeat guests, but in a way... You're sort of the most important, not that I have to inflate your ego because I know you like that, but a tremendous amount of stuff has happened since we had you on. So you were on, I think it was the middle of October. So we're 5 or 6 months away from that, right?
Show's going great, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it.
And a lot has happened in this space that we exist, this cultural libertarian space. So we got a lot to get to, but let's start with what's happening today. So this morning, there was this terror attack in Brussels at the airport and at a train station over there. It's still unfolding. So right now we're taping this. It's Tuesday afternoon here in Los Angeles, so some stuff obviously will change. Why don't you just give me your initial thoughts on what's going on?
Well, this is sort of what liberalism has welcomed into Europe. This is the excuse-making that's been made for radical Islam, which has prevented us from fighting this problem by people who lie about the source of these people, the news stations who refuse to accept that these attacks have anything to do with Islam, the people who won't even use the word Muslim before it happens. This is preventing us from fixing the problem. This is preventing people from taking adequate security precautions, looking after themselves. Europe now, welcoming in millions of people from alien cultures, whilst the establishment refuses to accept that these people's belief systems are just dramatically incompatible with our own. And, the regular citizenry is being lied to and lied about constantly, all the time by the media on this stuff. We have a population that is not able to protect itself, that is not adequately informed about the risks, the dangers of radical Islam. And the problem in Europe is that this stuff is now happening everywhere. No one is safe. Anywhere in Europe. It's happened in Paris, it's happened in London, it's happened in Brussels. No one is safe from this stuff. And what do our politicians leap to the airways to say? I really want to make it clear it has nothing to do with Islam. Well, it does. Yeah. It does. And as a gay man, I'm terrified by the prospect of mass Muslim immigration into Europe. It's one of the reasons I spend so much time in America now. I don't want to be there anymore. Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. It's interesting that your initial response to that is to talk about our reaction to it rather than the ideology. Because nothing surprises me about this.
You're not denying the ideology, you're obviously
Nothing surprises me about this. Why are we surprised that Muslims are blowing things up? That's what they do. Like, I don't care about that. It's horrific for the people who are on the receiving end of this terrorist stuff, but is anybody surprised that ISIS blew something up? No.
Right. So I'm gonna save you a little of internet hate. You do make the distinction between the nominal Muslim person, the average person that's a Muslim that doesn't take their religion seriously.
You don't need to do me that favor. No, I don't care too much for that distinction. It is not extremists. It's not radical Islamists. It's not the people the security services are worried about that that are the problem. It is the silent majority of Muslims who do nothing in this situation, have no peace movement, no resistance to their own extreme elements, just like the progressive left in the West. And in 11 countries, you and I could be killed for who we are. That's not ISIS. That is mainstream Muslim culture, and we are importing that stuff into Europe by, in millions. No, I don't make a meaningful distinction between these things because I don't care. I don't see any reason to import these cultures into liberal Western democracies. I see no reason to do it whatsoever. And as Bridget Gabriel once very brilliantly said, in any case, the peaceful majority are irrelevant. It is not the peaceful majority that blow up buildings. It is the extremists. And right now in the world, all of this stuff is coming from one culture and one religion, and I don't want it here.
So what do we do about that then? What do you actually do? We can't bomb these people into oblivion. It's an ideology. The radical part of this is an ideology, right? Yeah. So how do you beat an evil ideology.
We don't have to welcome 1.4 million of them into Germany. We don't have to lie to people about what Islam is and what Muslims believe, which the press and our politicians do all the time. We don't have to intervene in their countries where it's not necessary, where we don't need to. And I supported the Iraq War, but some of the other things we do in the Middle East are not necessary, and just drum up this this Western hatred. So
you don't deny that some of what's going on has something to do with the West, right?
No, I'm not saying we're responsible for it. You know, nobody is.
Well, I'm not parsing out blame, but you say you do see some connection, right?
Well, you would be an idiot to deny it.
Yeah.
You know, there are. You know, we have been.
I'm dealing with a lot of idiots here on the left. So.
There are a lot of. Yes, you are dealing with a lot of idiots on the left. Most of them.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I do your show. You're one of the very few liberals with a brain. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot.
I'm starting to not think that's a compliment. A lot of people say that to me, and I'm starting to think maybe that's.
Well, it's not a. I mean, is it a compliment? I don't know. I mean, it puts you up to average. Is that a compliment? I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, look, the problem is not just radical Islam. The problem is Islam. There are structural problems with this religion that mean it is incompatible with the modern, free, Western liberal democracy we live in, and particularly for you and I, it is, and for you and me, and it is also a problem for women. There are very serious problems with Islamic culture, not Islamist, you know, jihadist extremism. And of course, that plays itself out, and it played itself out in the streets of Brussels, and it plays itself out with far too much regularity. But with Islam, there is a problem, and nobody wants to talk about it. And what you tried to do earlier to save me from myself, I don't want it, because now
I respect that.
I don't want it, because I've got to the point where I'm thinking, look, the West that Islam hates so much is what has given us gay rights. It has provided, you know, for women, it's given women the vote. It has ended slavery, which is, you know, not the case everywhere in the world. It has given gay people and women all of the rights we now enjoy. There is effective blanket equality in the West for all of these people.
Yeah, and every other minority, too.
Exactly. Importing Muslims is going to turn the clock back. And this is what you talk about when you coin and popularize this phrase, regressive left, which came from this show, right? But you don't go far enough. What does a regressive left mean? It means it's going to take us backwards into an era of hatred and bigotry. Well, the left seems to want to import Muslims by their millions into all of our countries. That's a regressive consequence, and it's not just terrorism.
So what do you think is going on with these people? I know many of these people very well. I've worked with a lot of these people.
Why do you hang out with these losers?
I don't anymore.
Weird,
I don't
sickos.
anymore, but this ideology...
Judge a man by his friends, you know.
Yeah. But this ideology, I mean, even this morning on Twitter, as I was scrolling through all the craziness that every time there's a terror attack, you know, you get every, you know, avenue of craziness. I saw someone, a girl, 20-something-year-old girl in Belgium, she actually tweeted that the hashtag Stop Islam, the hashtag itself, she said that's worse than what actually happened. I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean,
no, I know, but you see this every time.
It got thousands.
You see this every time. You see this every time. The left believes that words have power they don't have, right? They think that you can stop somebody from being homophobic by banning the word gay from the playground. They think that you can end racism by banning the N-word. They think that if you shape language and control culture, that you can stamp out bigotry. Well, that's not how it works. The point of a civilized society, the point of etiquette and a point of negotiating the world, you know, around us and negotiating with other people, is to live with one another despite our prejudices and despite our differences. Mm-hmm. The purpose of a civilized society ought to be to enable everybody to live together in harmony, which is why I hate what the gay lobby does when it bullies and ridicules Christians. Christians aren't going away, you know. Yeah. You're not going to bully Christianity out of existence. You're not going to ridicule Christianity out of existence just because BuzzFeed doesn't like people who believe in God. No, right, the purpose of society is to get everybody to, you know, and we were doing a good job of that. You know, the West is doing a pretty good job of that right up until we started importing Muslims.